Good morning. When I was a child at the age of 11, living in a country thousands of miles from here, I witnessed my father's career as a surgeon in charge of a large division of a hospital in a state university crumble into pieces. He became a witness to a case in which law enforcement authorities coerced the forensic examiner and the morgue administrators into changing the bullets recovered from a corpse with one provided by them. My father blew the whistle. He refused to go along with a criminal act that would result in a guilty man going free and an innocent one being sent to jail. As a result, he suffered drastic consequences, consequences that are not unusual where I came from. My father never regretted his action, and I knew despite the consequences he suffered, he would do it all over again. I remember him telling me, things like this do not happen in truly democratic civil societies like America. When I was a teenager in high school, I decided to take part in a national high school's writing competition, and I submitted an essay titled Democracy and Freedom of the Press. At the time, I was very interested in freedom of the press and the torture and imprisonment of many thousands of authors and journalists simply for criticizing the establishment. These writers were being arrested under treason laws, prosecuted in closed military tribunals, and were being sent to jails by the thousands. Actions that are not unusual where I came from. My high school principal called my father and told him that he wanted to save my family and me from police harassment and retaliation. So he asked my father to convince me to remove my name and essay from the upcoming competition and to do this for our own good. My father refused, told him to submit my essay, and left. The principal didn't give up and summoned my mother. My mother complied and told me, in this country, you should never, ever rock the boat. And my disappointed father said, Sibel, things like this separate us from democratic societies. Things like this do not happen in truly democratic civil societies like America. I came to the United States in 1988, right after high school. I pursued my university education, during which I took courses in American government, the U.S. Constitution, and U.S. history, and became mesmerized by the emphasis on the notions like the separation of powers, system of checks and balances, transparency, civil liberties, and freedom of the press. Remember where I came from, countries where you will be arrested for just dreaming about having these laws and rights. Many of you were privileged to be born here and to have your U.S. citizenship and your rights guaranteed under the Constitution granted to you at birth. I, on the other hand, chose to become a citizen of this country and took an oath to defend its Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I took a job with the FBI as a language specialist for several languages right after 9/11. During my short tenure with the Bureau, I became aware of cases involving criminal conduct against our national interests, serious security breaches threatening our intelligence, and intentional blocking of certain terrorism and criminal cases from being investigated by our government officials. I was asked and later ordered to refrain from reporting these cases. I refused, because I considered it my duty and my obligation to fulfill as a citizen, as a civil servant. I reported these serious misconducts together with evidence to higher management within the Bureau. They refused to take any action, and again, they ordered me not to pursue them. I took these issues and evidence to the Justice Department and to the appropriate Senate committees with oversight authority, because I believe that according to our laws and regulations, these were the appropriate steps to take in this situation. As a result, I was retaliated against and fired. I then filed motions with the federal courts, our judicial authority. I believed at that point that I had done all I could. I believed I had pursued all I should. I went by the book. I went by the rules. I went by the system. In October 2002, 3 months after I filed my suit against the Department of Justice for unlawful termination of my employment, John Ashcroft, the then Attorney General, invoked the rarely invoked privilege, the state secret privilege. According to Ashcroft, everything involving my case and my allegations were considered state secrets, and whether or not I was right in my allegations, the United States District Court had to dismiss my entire case without any questions or hearing, period. In April 2004, after attorneys for a large group of 9/11 family members subpoenaed my deposition, John Ashcroft made his next move. He invoked the state secrets privilege for the second time, and this time he designated my place of birth, date of birth, my mother tongue, my father tongue, my university background, and all my previous employments, all state secrets, top secret classified, and matters of the highest level national security. Let's see. Based on this new ruling and designation by the Justice Department, my passport would be considered a top secret document since it contains my place of birth, information considered state secrets. According to our government officials, my Virginia driving license would be considered a top secret document since it contains my date of birth, information considered state secrets and classified as well. Well, even my resume would be considered top secret since it contains my linguistic credentials and my degrees, information considered state secrets. In May 2004, 2 years after 2 ranking senators had publicly and in public records and documents announced me credible and my case and allegations confirmed, the Attorney General struck again. This time, he decided to gag the entire Congress on anything that had to do with me and my case. The Congress complied. In April 2005, for the first time in these 3 gagged years, my attorney and I finally had, or thought we had, our day in court for our hearing before appellate court judges. And as Ann Beeson explained, just hours before our hearing, these judges issued an unexpected ruling, barring all reporters and the public from the courtroom. And numerous media-related entities filed their motions to oppose this ruling. The judges denied their motion and cited no reason. Then came the next shock. After bypassing our brief, asking a couple of puzzling and irrelevant questions, and allowing my attorneys 10 minutes or so of response, the appellate judges asked my attorneys and me, the plaintiff here, to leave the courtroom so that the government attorneys could secretly answer questions and make their arguments. The guards escorted us, the plaintiff, out, locked the doors, and stood there in front of the courtroom and watched us for about 15 minutes. So much for finally having my day in court. Here I was with my attorneys, standing outside the courtroom and being guarded. Then it was over. That was it. We were told to leave. In other words, my attorneys and I were barred from being present in our own court hearing. In May 2005, 2 weeks after the Kafkaesque court procedure, my attorneys and I were given the verdict. The lower court's decision was upheld, meaning my entire case, whether or not we had an Inspector General's report that confirmed all my allegations, whether or not we had several congressional letters confirming my case and my allegations, was prevented from proceeding in court due to some unspecified state secrets and unexplained secrecy that applied to everything that had to do with me and my case. In the past 3 years, I have been gagged several times. I have continuously been prevented from pursuing my due process. All reports and investigations looking into my case have been classified, and every governmental or investigative authority dealing with my case has been shut up. I have complied with the rules that are against what our system intended, rules that defy our notions of transparency, accountability, and justice, and rules that are made to accommodate the intent to cover up criminal acts, negligence, and incompetence. I believed in our system, a system established to prevent abuse of power by any of the branches of our government, a system intent upon prosecuting criminals and upholding accountability, a system geared to protect our civil liberty, in short, the American system of democracy. The Supreme Court happens to be my last chance, my last hope to see our system, a system put in place by our founding fathers, restored. Thank you.